opposite side, you only have that singular duelist, but what you bring to the table is still the same bit of utility in that Killjoy that can toss out those nanoswarms and clear out those angles. So we'll see if that's going to be the play or if AGM leans on the post plant. But here we go, map number 2 in our upper decider. The winner here qualifies for playoffs nice and early, like the loser has to go down and play a lower decider later on in the bracket. And well, Bjor off to a great start here for BBG as he goes unchecked and he finds the frag on the only controller player for Complexity.
Yeah, and there was 2 players actually postured out towards main. Both of them have gone unchecked. So now, Complexity, they're desperate to fight for control. That control they want is out towards spawn, but the frags are coming up towards BBG. Cuts us down to a 2 versus 4. Spike is planted up for the kitchen, but it's just not working out. Bjor finds one, leaves it to AGM. The adjustment is good, but Will just has the better shot. Defuse will come through, and BBG will grab themselves the pistol round. I love the creativity with that play on the split up through mid and the plant towards upper. That's a plant spot that I've always liked, but not a ton of teams actually use too often. However, they were just a little lazy on the clear towards B main, and that came back to bite them in a big way.
Yeah, it's the plant top tube. Throw some cloudburst down on top of it and hope to get the defuse. And well, eventually they found the frags behind it. As for BBG on Icebox, I feel like they've got some notable wins, but they also have kind of a shaky past on this one. I think what bodes really well for this squad is they've already got a win on it today. It was a 13-6 over Project 13 earlier in the day. And wow, that has been a great way to get started for J. Cruel. The shots onto Rarkar through the wall from tube to tube, or nest to nest, I should say. But Poach is here to answer back. Finds a couple on the round. The eco frags will start to swing the way of BBG. As a near flawless round finds them their second.
A nice little 2-0 to get going here for BBG, but I think with the weapons in hands, this is where we get to see Complexity start things off. When they can kind of slow things down a little bit, work their way into this default, they can find success, but their comp is kind of two-pronged. They have the utility from this Killjoy. They have that dedicated flank watcher, which really allows them to hard commit into these sites. I feel like the Killjoy adds a lot, not just in that flank watch, not just in that anchor on the defensive side, but in that post plan, of course, as well. I understand why it's fallen out of the meta a little bit and why Double Duelist is so good on this map, but I also feel like for teams like Complexity, this comp can be very successful, and now this is a bit of a test for them. Valen holding very far back into spawn, and Bjor wants to try and capitalize off the drone's information, but it won't happen. Said he eats a ton of damage, but leaves us in a 5 versus 5.
Shock dart from Poach, trying to clear out anybody creeping up on that pipe's position. Obviously, nobody there means no damage to be had just yet. It's Complexity on their rifle round. Off to a pretty good start. Gaining some space out towards A, but also some damage nice and early like we saw. Rarkar, Sheriff in hand, looking to find something. Quite a bit of credits looking to go into the next round, so we might be seeing a round 4 operator for the BBG Jet. He needs to be careful. That spam through nest here on the site. A scary spot to be. As the spike looks to get planted, he's gonna stick that one. No, will fall. Shrill picks up a nice frag there. As Brock trades it back with the shock darts. Stay cruel onto the site through the ropes, via the ropes, I should say. Able to find another on the round and finishing off Pure, but now in a 3v2 on the site. They have to try and retrieve the spike and get it down, and it's still Poach. They'll hold it down here in the same angle that he started. Finds the first onto Brock. The backstab is there. Valen having a solid round early, a solid round late. We'll find Complexity there first.
Yeah, Cole, they do find their way onto the board, but it was a ton of damage taken there by the hands of BBG. They'll pick up 3 frags in their bonus round, and it was almost winnable, right? They really wanted to deny that plant. They initially knocked that spike onto the floor, but it was recovered, planted safely, and the wall from OOKERS there getting a lot of work done. And I mean, earlier on in that round even, Valen denying that flank was pretty big, and you can initially have Valen there to scare off, but then you can just fall away and trust that turret. That's what allowed them to commit so deeply onto the site in the late round, but now we have ourselves the real bit of this game. It'll be rifles v rifles, and it's going to be Complexity slowing things right on down.
Yeah, Spike's still down out towards spawn, so not committed Either ways, J. Crow looks to find something out towards B long. Nothing to be garnished just yet. Valen to put that wall up. Look to play around it and maybe create a bit of paranoia in the minds of BBG. They back away, and I mean, they've always got complexity of really the last couple of rounds have had somebody sitting here and spawn just to make sure that nobody creeps up through mid for free. And that's not something that you see a whole lot of. So they're really kind of playing a strange off angle for anybody who's trying to lurk around or look for that long flank out through the spawn.
I want to call back because this is all I'm thinking about now. Isn't garnished when like you put something on top of like a salad or something, or like on top of a meal?
Yeah, that is garnish. Yeah, that is.
Okay. I mean, maybe they're making maybe they're gonna try and make a meal out of BBG here, right? Like cook up the steak all nice, put a little bit of cilantro or something on the top, you know, make it all pretty and get yourself up to a third map. We'll have to see if they can get this done, but their main task right now is to get the plant down, and the Viper utility is going big to delay it at least for the moment. Valen picks off Will, and the spike is being planted. AGM has a huge lurk here and doubles down off of it. BBG cut to 2 members.
And Complexity looking to tie things up here. Quite possibly put BBG on a pistol round. As they've lost their bonus. Now they're looking to lose their full rifle. Still AGM, a thorn in the side. Drill. Able to find the angle. AGM, so unfortunately, expecting somebody out towards kitchen. And now Rarkar creeping up on the spike, but it's going to have to pull the trigger here soon. Cloudburst goes through. Tap onto the spike and force Orhide forward, but running out of time, or BBG, they're forced to concede the round. They'll hang on to a couple of weapons. May have spoken too soon as Rarkar still tries to find a safe way out of the site. Will use that dash, will survive. With 4 remaining from Complexity, they hang on to their weapons. And they tied things up 2-2. And Mimi, so in the terms of cooking, garnish.
Yeah.
Is to decorate or embellish. In terms of law, it is to seize or settle a debt or claim. So to garnish, to seize, I don't remember how I used it. I don't know how I used it previously, but
I'm
to
sure
garnish
you were
something
correct
is to take something.
I'm gonna concede on this one, Mr. Lawyer
wait,
Metro.
hold on.
Wait.
No, you're not wrong. I'm just saying we're both right here.
Okay, that's
Because you're right. A garnish is, or a dish, a food. You do garnish your food.
there we have it. Well, sometimes everyone does win, but this series, not everyone will be winning. Someone has to be the loser, and well, in this round, it might just be Cole. Maybe not, though, because they fought back. It was a great opener by Rarkar, but that's quickly denied. The nade to push J. Cruel back a bit, but, I mean, look at this lurk. Turret went down early, so there's already a Viper worked up into the back lines.
And I guess on the eco round here, this is okay. This is a huge victory, I want to say, thus far. As J. Cruel finds 3 on the round. Bjor surely positioned, given away. But if you're BBG, you're coming to this one with pistols, upgraded pistols. And not only did you buy out a lockdown, but you stripped away 3 weapons thus far. The plant does go down in this round, seemingly to go the way of Complexity. I mean, if you're BBG, you're really just excited at what you've been able to net thus far. You're going to be spotted out by the Recon. Not too sure where that one came from, as Brock will fall. It's J. Cruel with the 4K on the round, so it's the heroics from the Jet that keep Complexity alive in round number 5 to grab themselves their first lead.
3 in a row, but they're gonna have to clean up these Antikas a little bit, because I hyped up what this Killjoy can do in way of flank watch, but it really doesn't happen whatsoever there. No one is holding for the position that Bjor finds, and he's able to pressure from the back lines. He's kind of the anvil to the hammer of the rest of his squad who pushed forward and found that damage. Good damage, not around. Now there's rifles. Now there's a Viper's Pit that Bjor's gonna deploy early out towards A. Maybe. There we go.
Maybe. And this Viper's Pit is not really the 50-50. Do I get it off of pipes or not? So it's just going to put that one down onto 410. Try and secure the site and out towards mid. Will the first to fall there. So tough spot to be in for the Rays. We've still got a Resurrection and a Hunter's Fury to play with. We'll see if those come into play to try and secure this round. And tie things up for BBG as Brock looks to queue up an Owl drone. Maybe to try and spot out the Viper, but for now, Complexity, they're flirting with the A site. It does look like they are making that call to back away.
Yeah. I like it, honestly. Just reset. Don't challenge that pit. It can be so dangerous. Rounds can be thrown single-handedly. Getting overzealous up against a pit play. And, I mean, the positioning here by BBG isn't perfect to deny a B play. All they really have to directly shut this down would be that Hunter's Fury. But regardless, they'd still likely have to play in towards this retake. Someone on BBG has to step up and make a play to even
30
the odds.
seconds left.
Here's that resurrection. As that mid control has been conceded, and well, a Viper's Pit to battle the Viper's Pit this time to get quite a bit more value. It's a tag on the Hunter's Fury, looking for more, but it's only damage to be had. Is a healing orb going to be used to top off that Viper once more? And Valen, BBG in a 5v5 retake, have to try and find their way onto the site, but most importantly, they need to find these players as AGM goes on the lurk, undetected for now. Toxic screen goes up. They look to fight on the inside. There's the paint shells that we talked about. Showstopper on the backside. The pit goes down, but AGM unspotted until now as Rarkar goes huge. Will to grab that refresh on the paint shells, leaving it all up to Brock, the last one standing for Complexity. And if you missed Haven, well, you get a taste of it here on Icebox because we go back and forth. We're all tied up once more.
BBG and the retakes, it's just such an iconic duo. And I mean, I thought someone was going to have to make a big play forward there, and well, that was Will. Perfectly placed paint shells for the first, and then he finds the second frag off of that showstopper. And honestly, it's ridiculous that you get another paint shells off of a kill with the paint shells. Just the chain of utility that a Raze can get going is ridiculous, and Will does perfect for that. I think he had some moments where he definitely struggled on the sky, but Raze is his comfort, and will hitting shots like that. That's what's comfortable for Trill. Absolutely plucks the Bladestorm out of the sky, but it's Bladestorm for Bladestorm. Rarkar picks up AGM, and he wants more.
And trying to show J. Cool how to get it done. Playing around the Cloudburst. Unfortunately, the knives go wide, leaving it all up to the Classic. And, well, Rarkar gets answered by Ohai, making a second as Bjor will fall. And a resurrection used this time in Complexity's favor will even the odds once more. No longer a 5v5 like we saw in the last round off the res, but a 3v3. I think most importantly, you've also got that Hunter's Fury available for Brock and Will in an aggressive position. First to contact, takes down not only the Sage, but the Spike as well. It's traded right back, but both members spotted out. Not only the Recon bolt, but the kill that was found. Here comes the Hunter's Fury, a tag on to Poach. He doesn't have a whole lot of room to play with. The push up from AGM, the run and gun just not good enough for the Sova as Trill looks to go back to his fragging ways. Low on HP, no armor, I should say, as AGM goes up top and the high ground proves to be too difficult to deal with. This Complexity once more find themselves in the lead.
Yeah, I feel like BBG there maybe got a little overzealous after finding themselves that early advantage. They had man advantage. Rarkar then goes in, double dips for more, and Bjor as well is holding an aggressive line. He'll fall, and then in that 2 versus 2, it's just well played between AGM pushing forward and the showstopper in the back lines from Brock. That's a huge punish that BBG is going to be reeling from because they needed more. That was their chance to garner the momentum, and that's just been ripped away from them.
Take flight.
I feel incredibly validated in my crosshair choice, in the sense that AGM went from a white crosshair to a red crosshair, and sometimes I feel that, where I'm like, you know, the color's just not working for me on this map. And, well, now AGM's top fragging, so...
There you go.
It's good to know that I'm not the only one who... I thought maybe I was a little crazy for playing that way, but... Validation is what we have, and speaking of AGM, he's also got that lockdown available should he choose to use it, and there it is. It's going to push everybody off the site, and I mean, off the site. You have to go all the way back towards spawn. There's no close angles, as I guess a passive defensive hold allows for this lockdown to go just outside the 410 area, and as I said, forces everybody back. The wall also going to stop a push from screens, and the post plant now coming on through. Unfortunately, I believe that Nano Swarm chipped away at, taken down by the paint shells as Will pushes on. You only have one real way to get on through, and that's through Heaven, and Will does just that. Now AGM up on top, able to find one, makes it the second. Now 2 more to worry about as BBG Trying to play the retake once more. Poach gonna go wide on the Guardian shots as Bjor goes up top with nothing to be spotted from the high ground just yet. Takes down OHI now in a 2v2. Brock cuts it down to a 2v1. The Guardian shots will finally land with 9 in the magazine. The reload comes on through, and the shock dart is just enough damage for Brock to clutch out another round for Complexity.
How many rounds has Brock just found frags with the shock darts? His utility usage is absolute perfection, and it's another round where Complexity cut it down to a 1 versus 1 and take the round off of it. Now, coming towards the latter part of this half, BBG, they're going to need to turn the ship around. And, I mean, they're likely looking at least a 3-6 scoreline. Money is not good here whatsoever, and it's made all the more painful because these rounds are just so damn close.
Standing ahead.
A bit of a quicker approach this time around out towards the B site. Valen the first to push on through. Wall goes up. Snakebite to try and find some chip damage. The wall gets taken down fairly quickly. It's the upgraded pistols to do that for BBG. The 2 rounds separates these two teams for now. Complexity trying to grow that lead to 3. They want to get that spike planted. The Marshall shot's not going to land from Bjorn. No, it does find a bit of damage, but unfortunately it's answered right back from the rifles of Complexity. Now down to the last 2. Utility available. The boombot goes through, so minus 400 there from Will. As he tries to make a run and gun play with the frenzy. Surely should be answered here soon as Trill only able to find 1 before falling. Now Will, not long for this world. Low HP on the raise, just runs right at it. And it's 80% of the squad remaining for Complexity. Not only find their 6, but to grow the lead to 3.
A very commanding lead right now by Complexity, but BBG still a chance to tie us on up. They have the operator to work with, but looking back at this previous round, yes, it was just the anti-eco, but still, BBG, they were previously so strong at these retakes, and now something feels like it's not quite clicking. Lots of close rounds lost, and now this one, it can't be close. They need a dominant round. They need something to just push the momentum back into their favor, to shut down Complexity, and it feels like they probably have the play, because they're not taking a tactical timeout. Normally, I think this would be the time to do so, but in not doing so, maybe there's something in there. Maybe they think they have the perfect play to shut this down.
I mean, you talked about it, right? It's coming down to the onesies and twosies, right? The spray downs, the multi-kills, not trading out frags. It's the 1v1 shock dart where Brock gets that frag. So maybe that's all it really is, where they think, okay, we just got to clean this up just a little bit, and we don't have to waste a timeout to do so. I do think, should we see a few more rounds go the way of Complexity, although you don't have much to work with, BBG definitely need to call that timeout and definitely need to try and figure out what's going on and how they can fix it. But for now, they will look to just fight their way on into this round as a toxic screen cut across the A site. The one and done position gets spotted out by Bjor. He will fall. It's OHI to pick that one up. Now the resurrection online should they need it for BBG. But the body's just not in a great place here as they just take the site basically for free. Complexity. Full force forward. They cut it down to the 2 remaining of BBG, and it's looking like a 7th round here, Mimi.
Yeah, that it is. I mean, it's almost confirmed at this point. Just going to be the save out of BBG. For BBG, on these early defenses, it just feels like they're taking every gunfight and losing them all. They need to lean a little bit more on their utility to set them up for success, because in these heads-up duels, they're just getting overwhelmed by calls.
And it was 7-5 at the half on Haven, so it's not to say that it's undoable here for BBG, and not only making it a 7-5 because they still have to find those rounds, but in winning here on Icebox. But as we take stock of what's going into the next round, right? It's a couple of rifles. It's an op. A rifle in the hands of Trill. Cool plays inside the Cloudburst. It's going to be sat down, so 1 kill picked up. Not a flawless round for Complexity, but that one easily will be reimbursed. Plenty of credits to go around, and as we take a look, the credits not great for BBG, but they do have a couple of ultimates to play with, and I'm wondering if this is the round that they choose to use them, or if they wait until they have kind of that full buy going into the next round and fight for that 8-4, because if you don't invest a whole lot into this, it really does feel like you are not only conceding the round, but you're just okay to kind of lose this Vandal and this Operator that you carried on from the previous.
Yeah, I mean, this one is of the utmost importance and complexity. They're showing us another one of these B splits. Well, it's not a split at all. Instead, it's just a straight up B play through mid. They're going to claim this position out towards kitchen and the whole AGM out towards mid. This post plan is actually incredibly tough to go up against unless they can get up top and try and stick onto this spike, because you have to retake mid control. You also have to retake kitchen, and well, they've already ticked one box.
Oh, hi. I mean, narrowly escaping death there, and eventually able to finding some onto Poach. Trill picks up one in response. Oh, hi goes right back to it. Resurrection now online for complexity. Should they need it? And, oh, Brock, I mean, just gives up a little too much here. The spike is ticking. Complexity down to their last few players. Somebody has to hop on it at the end of the day. It's just damage for BBG. That's all they can look for as everybody backs away. Trill will hang on to his weapon. Ohai will fall. Only one remaining for both sides, but the round conceded by BBG. 8-4 is the best they can hope for here in the last round. And I guess, Mimi, they've still got the ults. That's a tough round to watch.
That is a really painful one to lose out on. Complexity, I mean, their post plans, it's just excellent. 2 rounds in a row now where they're just winning off the detonation. They have so much utility to contend with, and I mean, BBG has just not been able to make it click. They're going to try this early Viper ult again from Bjor, and well, he's going to have to try a second time again, and we'll get it down eventually, but if you go down 9-3 on Icebox and have to try and come back on your attacker side, especially against a strong Icebox team like Complexity, I don't know how much I believe in it. I feel like this 4th round is going to be of the utmost importance.
And it got scary for a second. Bjor almost went down, trying to get that ult up. Tim and Poach going to be holding it down. Valen, an insane flank, able to get some value out of it. Good for one as Rarkar falls. Nothing inside the kitchen stops the Viper from pushing that way. And now the paranoia sets in. Where is that Viper player? Fortunately, Will is able to answer back. So you're able to take that deep breath, that sigh of relief as you cut the numbers down. And the A site is still held for now for BBG as the spike hovers out that way. It's AGM through the lurk again. And I mean, Valen just says, hey guys, come on, it's free this way. Just head on over through kitchen to the A site, because nobody is stopping you from doing this as Bjor looks to go aggressive. Now it's all up to Will, who's found the only frag on the round. Has a couple more just around the corner. Hangs on to find 3, but needed 5. His Complexity go into the half 9-3, and we'll see if they can close it out after this short break. A dominant first half for Complexity finds them up 9-3 as they mount their defense. We'll see if BBG get it done on attack. So we take stock of what we see here. It's 4 ghosts across the board for Complexity. Only 2. Rarkar looking to play quick, looking to play aggressive. A frenzy in hand of the Jet as the wall goes up. It's looking like a mid split, but inside tube they will go. They're going to be met by the turret. So some damage to be had, but just for a moment. I feel like there's no element to surprise. Now that Poach has been spotted out as well. Tro gonna find a nice frag with the classic from downtown, and BBG battling back here in the pistol, but they're not out of the woodworks just yet. They pick up the first 2 frags. They need to get that spike planted and find the rest. As the spike goes down, it's Complexity now working against the clock, and well, now down to their last 2 players.
A tough situation to be in if you're Cole, but this is exactly what the doctor ordered for BBG. A nice, clean pistol round to get you started in the right direction, and what Flawless is as clean as could be. I love that execute out towards the B site. Mid has been a big emphasis in this game, and Complexity just was not prepared to defend it against the speed that BBG was showing.
So, I like the plays through mid that we're seeing, because I feel like we kind of get deprived of it on Icebox for the most part. But if you take a peek at both of the plays, although a little bit different, you can see that the cogs are turning, right? For Complexity, it was, let's get everybody underneath tube, let's get the Jet up top and get that spike planted. Whereas for BBG, everybody goes into tube. You've got one player lurking, and I thought maybe because, you know, okay, you just ran towards B, you planted default, that you're not really putting too much in terms of actual stock into game plan. You can tell it is all there for BBG. Now they need to keep it going forward. This would be a rough one to lose as Brock finds first onto Rarkar. Will continues pushing through, and everybody starts to get mowed down onto the site. It's all up to Jay Cruel, who's forced away by the paint shells. 46 health and damage. Now the name of the game, the classic wielding Jet of Complexity, and Will trying to net another. Instead, it's Bjor to steal that one away. So the eco frags kind of split across the squad for BBG. But here we go. 9-5 the score line. Complexity gonna be on their weapons. Now we get to see them play the game.
Yeah, Cole gonna be into this one now. BBG, they've been strong in the pistol rounds throughout this map thus far. No surprise that they're able to win and convert. Now this is the real trial, because previously this is where things started to go so horribly wrong on their defensive side. There is at least one rifle to work with. Rarkar has reinvested onto that, and it looks like the play is going to be out towards A. At least that's where the spike is leaning, but they're initially putting pretty heavy emphasis on mid. 2 players trying to take this fight, and AGM trying to deny it. He finds good damage onto Rarkar.
Yeah, the flank. Good for one, or the split up towards mid. Good for one as Will hops onto the site. BBG starting to get cut down as Poach will hop on through, and oh hi says oh hello as they creep on through the wall. Complexity push to their 10.
I was waiting for that. I knew it was going to happen at some point, and right then, right there, it comes out. We love a good pun, and, well, if you're a fan of Complexity, you love to see that round. BBG had a cool little plan there. You pop up that wall, you split in through mid, but you had Brock holding up towards the high ground on screens there. He found his necessary frag, and, well, it allowed OHI to stay in a good position around that wall and to shut down with 3. 10 rounds for Cole, but BBG with weapons to reply.
That was just the bonus. Although a pretty dominant round for Complexity. Will gonna be quick on the cross, and Jay Cruel can't land the shots, and well, Rarkar forced up in the last round, so stuck on a Marshall here in this one, and takes a couple of shots to get that owl drone down. He will eventually do so. The wall goes up once more from OHI, and we know what happens if BBG look to push through it. But for now, it's just noise out towards A. That spike still hovers around B.
Yeah, the Marshall is holding down towards mid here, trying to tack away and keep that pressure up. Don't let Complexity beat you in the information game. And talk of information, you have a dart queued up here. Wall goes up as well, and the B site seems to be the destination, but Valen has an early molly to at very least delay this plant.
And not only does it delay the plant, but it gives you some time to chip away at that wall. Unfortunately, Tracer is going to give up your position as Bjor comes out on top in the Viper battle. Shots from AGM, though, finds a bit of damage in response. J-Cruel has the high ground for just a moment inside the tube on site, looking to find something, but BBG refusing to give up anything. As a tap onto the spike will force Warcar looking to swing out towards Yellow. Another shot goes wide, and the dash away. It's HP chipped away at. As Will finds a frag onto AGM. It's Complexity slowly starting to get chipped away at. You put the rifles in their hands, and BBG will get it done. It's all up to J-Cruel to try and find some damage on the way out. Maybe not enough time to escape and keep a weapon of his own. He picks up 2, so he denies the flawless from BBG as they find their 6th.
I'd honestly love to see if you have a setup like that that's just destined for the retake and just trying to delay the plant. I'd love to see Valen with an Odin. We don't see it a whole ton, but a lot of people used to play it, where you set one player as your mid-anchor there to just spam down the wall immediately. So it works a surprising amount of times, but that's just a little aside. What's really important here is that BBG has found themselves 6th round and has importantly pushed Complexity onto a bit of a scuffed bye here. Valen able to invest with the rest of the team stuck down onto classics, maybe a Marshall to work with, but it's not a great look, all things considered.
Not a great look. So we get some early damage traded out, but healed up. And that damage given right back to Ohai, so won't have that healing orb for another couple of seconds. When I say couple, I mean in the 20s, unfortunately. J-Cruel, blades in hand. It's going to be tip of the spear for the team here as Ohai has fallen. No buddy system allowed. A couple of knives going to go wide. And, well, unfortunately, J-Cruel will fall. So, again, the battle of the agents. The Jet v Jet will go the way of BBG, just as the Viper v Viper did in the last. And the save round for Complexity goes just as you would expect the save round to go. It's a couple of shock darts to try and find some chip damage. It's Brock looking for something, and AGM bringing up the rear, unfortunately. It's not a whole lot to be found, and this one could quite possibly be that flawless that BBG was searching for.
You know, like the Richter scale for like measuring the size of earthquakes?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like we need one for like Sovas that's just like the nerdiness scale, or like the amount that they go outside scale, because I think that on that scale Brock would rank pretty high. Like I feel like he is a huge nerd with the Sova lineup, so I imagine that he is spending the majority of his time at his computer. But all jokes aside, I feel like this guy's utility usage has been absolutely impeccable on the Sova role, and I think he's a really good addition to this Complexity roster. Obviously they might be struggling a little bit in this game, but they still will hold on to the lead and go up 10-7 now.
At 10-7, Complexity back on weapons. The only round that they found thus far was BBG's bonus round. So the weaponry wasn't the strongest, although they did come into that one with the rifle. And now this is kind of just... Actually, I'm going to hold this thought for a second as AGM gets spotted leaping over tube, or under tube, I should say, as the Recon bolt for some information, but not a whole lot of follow-up. It does force out the tailwind, though, so Rarkar now needs to be smart with the positions that he finds himself in, because he can't get out of dodge very quickly unless he picks up a couple of kills. The wall goes up, the spike looks to be planted, and Poach, you need to turn away from that one unless you want the wall to break, and well, that's exactly the case. AGM looks to play through the break, but gets answered by Rarkar, so a heads-up play from the Jet, expecting that wall to be down, expecting a player on the other side, and finding the first frag for BBG.
That they will. 5 versus 4 now here to work with. Will swing forward to find one, but it's Brock to trade on out, and he'll double down, spam through the smoke. It's labored, and he's knocked down to 1 HP, but just listen to the time. Not a whole ton left. Brock attempting to hit a shot with the Hunter's Fury. It's not happening. Defuse is denied. Ohai's wall will actually now block his own team away from the spike, and the spam comes through. It finds Bjorn, but at this point, what's left? Nothing. The round's not going to be won. Rarkar will find Brock, and J-Cruel will try desperately to hold on to the operator. He will, but again, what cost? It's a round for BBG.
Yeah, I think so. Most importantly for that round for Complexity, in saving that operator, they'll have something going into this round. Like you said, still a round of BBG, in a round that you wanted to win if you're Complexity. Obviously, you want every round, but that one you're going in full force. You have full utility, you have full weapons, and you end up kind of just letting that one slip away. Now it gets a whole lot difficult, but at the very least, like I said, you have the operator. J-Cruel can be that tip of the spear and really be a thorn in the side in this eco. But this is looking like a BBG comeback where 9-10 is on the horizon. You're gonna line up the poison cloud here. Tosses that one out. And that should block off that back of sight area. So you have to be peeking pretty wide if you do want to peek. Poach finds the first. The Hunter Sure. You're gonna take down Brock as the wall goes up. You're holding on to the flank, and AGM will fall. And well, this round going just as expected. 3 players remain. The operator still in play and a resurrection to work with. Valen finds one. Larkar to fall. It's a weapon to be retrieved, but unfortunately not in a great spot as the wall goes back up. The post plant in full effect here for BBG as they got a 1-player lead with the Arsenal making a 2-player lead. And the Arsenal just too strong as the Sheriff shots won't land this time around. And J. Cruel in no position to help his team. No position to trade the frags. Only looking to save the operator here. Maybe find a kill in doing so.
Yeah, J. Cruel struggling to find consistent impact with the operator on this defensive side. He's never really been at the right place, and when he is, it's at the wrong time, and that's coming back to hurt complexity. He will find one and should be able to hold on to this weapon into the next round. Wallbang will connect a bit, but it won't be a victory. 9-10 now the scoreline we're looking at, and if I'm the likes of complexity right now, I'm taking a tactical pause. This momentum is getting worrying. You have another bye. You need to take a moment to try and reset, to try and think out a new plan, but looks like they might just be heading on into the next round and trying something out. I'm hoping that they have some kind of new plan, because this game, it could very easily slip away from them.
You said it, new plan. They need to find something here. They're able to take down the Owl drone. Shock dart queued up by Poach to try and chip away at anybody looking to play on the opposite side of the gray box. And well, it's split now, but Ohai has assumed that position only after the shock dart had landed. So no early damage traded out. Just going to be utility tossed out from BBG thus far. So we've got a Viper's Pit to play with. So if you hear those footsteps out towards B, maybe get that pit coming down. And as for BBG, if they want to open up the site, they've got all the tools they need to do so. The knives online for Rarkar, the showstopper online for Will, but it's only a matter of time before we see these ults used.
Very slow one here from BBG, but A-Site seems to be that they'd like to finish. It's actually a strong setup from Complexity. 3 players within close vicinity and 1 on a rotate out from mid. J. Cole holding the line, but he whiffs the shot. Trill will capitalize, and Will, he's already in deep into the site, and it's another retake for Complexity.
And that showstopper, so it was really the frag from Trill that opened up the site, but then the showstopper just keeps everybody at bay. It allows for the rest of his squad to bring up the rear and be in the positions they need to be in and keep everybody away for Complexity. So that spike goes down. Now the time is ticking as AGM picks one up onto Bjor. Brock looking for something. All the kills starting to swing the way of Complexity, but only for a moment as the lockdown goes through. It's all up to Complexity to try and buy the time to make sure nobody can push that one there as Valen now the last one standing, going toe-to-toe with Will. But Will find the frag, BBG will find the round, and most importantly, they have tied us up once more.
Dude, Will is just swinging from tree to tree. He is making that A-site look like his home, and I mean, what a huge way to close things out. That lockdown should have been enough for AGM, but he's just not ready for the close corner, and Valen, just another unlucky timing. And I mean, talking about earlier in the round, J. Cruel again, he's really struggling to find his impact on this operator within this defensive half. Something still has to change for Complexity, and I thought that could have been the round, but not to be. They still have a bye here, but you lose on this bye, money's gonna be rough. That would likely be match point BBG.
And so this is a quick take out towards B through mid. And the scariest thing about this is obviously that there's a little bit of a buy coming through from Complexity. But when you're playing fast, you're not always checking your corner. So I thought maybe this could be the round that Complexity sneaks away with that lesser purchase. All 3 players now have pushed up out towards Snowman. And I mean, Poach has a position, but he doesn't have the timing just yet. As that screen goes down, the resurrection used. It's going to put the numbers in favor of BBG, and there's that angle. J. Cruel falls as the operator down. Brock the follow. Now it's all up to Valen here. Picks up the first. Healthy enough for another duel. But unfortunately has 3 to worry about as the Recon Bolt finds the tag. Complexity just running out of time. Pure picks up 3 on the round, and BBG, they clawed their way back in, Mimi, and they now have a 1-round lead.
Yeah, and look at the money. It's awful for Complexity in this round. They could make the decision to force, or they might just have to play for overtime. In that previous round, I just felt like Complexity seemed a little bit lost off of the pace that BBG was hitting it with. They went so quickly up into B through mid, and then the remaining players of Complexity, they were all retaking from spawn, but no one seemed ready for the possibility of a flank. No one was watching for it, so a flank comes forward, a little bit of pressure is applied from kitchen, everyone turns, and then you have a repeat from main. It's these mistakes that just can't be happening in a situation like this. They had a huge lead going into the half, and now it seems like that might be pulled away from them. BBG in an anti-eco here for match point, series point.
And Trill to kick things off with the frag, make it 2. What an addition this player has been to this squad as the pistols start to come online. Now the knife still available. A right click up close and personal leaves it all up to Bjor. As the spike has fallen, so will the utility. The cloud goes down. And at the very least, because of the pathing from J. Cruel, excuse me, maybe one weapon retrieved as the knives are still online for the Jet. Bjor has a lot to get done here. He's looking to go up top inside the nest, trying to play up in that one and done angle. Maybe not spotted, spots out the legs of one. Finds the first frag, the first of 3. As the knives are still online, Bjor going for the plant. J. Cruel coming around the corner, has AGM right behind him. The knives cut him down to 16 health, but Bjor will live. He survives to tell the tale, but only for a moment, as Complexity have battled their way back in thrifty fashion to tie us up once more.
Oh, wow. What a round from Complexity. It was just a complete domination for BBG, but maybe they get a bit overzealous, find themselves that entry, and then keep pushing. They wanted more in that situation, and you just got to be disciplined, because they just got 3 versus 5. That classic frag gives J. Cool the blades, and then AGM and Valen just go huge. It looked like BBG is going to be calling this timeout, and oh no, it's actually Complexity instead. I imagine that they had intended to do this regardless. They weren't expecting to win that eco. They wanted to pause and think things through, but in some way this is good for BBG because they get the coach into the equation, and they can kind of talk about just calm down a little bit, because when you get rolling, when that momentum is with you, sometimes it just gets a little too much and mistakes start to happen. We saw that in the last round, and BBG needs to fix this because they're not out of the woods just yet.
No, they are not, but I mean, they've put up a pretty solid fight thus far. It was 9-3 at the half, so since then, it's been 8-2, and that is quick math for you guys out in the chat and here on the broadcast. We did it correctly this time. I was going to do some math with the games played and the weeks played, or I guess the opens and the monthlies, but then I let it all fall by the wayside because I'm going to lose that one on broadcast, and I'm going to come out with 21, and I will be made fun of. So that is not going to be the case as we jump into this next round, though. Most importantly, we're off the back end of a timeout, and I mean, we're getting to the point where BBG, they've got the economy. We're only a couple of rounds away, right? The economy doesn't really matter at this point. So it's going to come down to what you have in hand for now, as 11-11 is where we stand. A drone out towards B, but the spike leans over towards A here for BBG. It's a resurrection available, the only ultimate online. We'll see how that one gets used, or if that one gets used as we near the end of regulation.
All up for a moment there. Out towards B will drop, and BBG have slowed things down. They don't want to let their hubris get punished again, but this slow play also does open some opportunities for J. Cruel on the operator. If you go late out towards A, you can find so much value, but Rarkar as well. You can find something towards mid. Shot does miss, and it's the B site instead that seems to be BBG's final destination.
4 players stacked up as Rarkar continues to hold that flank. Poison Cloud. Wall gonna go over the top, though, so Poe trying to find this frag, but he gets a bit too shaky on the shots. It's Valen to only take a bit of damage. Now looking for more is Bjor, but Valen holding down the B side. This is his domain. No Toxic or Viper's Pit, excuse me. No Viper's Pit needed. As the kills get traded back, it was looking good for Complexity for just a moment. The spike goes down, and the operator is still in hand. Here comes the Resurrection to swing the numbers in favor of Complexity. But how will BBG battle back in this one? Complexity working against the clock. That is the fourth man online for BBG as that wall gets taken down. So does Rarkar. Now it's double the man advantage for Complexity. As one kill comes through, we're going to pick that one up. AGM going to go up top. Unfortunately, answer to the spike just being stuck to paint shells. Not enough to find the frag. In some way, somehow, Complexity have done it.
Wow, what a round from Complexity. It looked like they were going to choke away their lead, but now they've pulled it back. 12-11 is what we are looking at, and I mean, this is just unfortunate. Poach went up and over, completely whiffed the shots. Pure as well had a chance to kill Valen, and it didn't happen. And unfortunately for BBG, the player that was always still alive there, it was OHI. Resurrection and Wall almost single-handedly was able to pull that round back from the brink of defeat.
That is a game of seconds, a round of seconds, and well, no second chances here for Poach as he gets taken down. It's only the showstopper available, no resurrection to be. Oh no, okay, with that ult pip, it comes online, so they're gonna be able to get Poach back online. So a 5v5 and a resurrection, one Complexity the last round. Maybe it's enough for BBG here in this one.
Yeah, there's still a lockdown available for Complexity, and you still have that op holding towards the back lines. BBG taking this one slowly, but their slow pace has allowed 4 players to already rotate on over.
Op shot not going to land through the cloud burst as the wall is up. Here comes the showstopper, maybe just to answer the lockdown. So ult for ult is procced. Well, he lands true with this kill on to Poach. Rarkar trades it out, but OHI's there to find another. Dio now going on the flank, is going to get spotted out and taken down again. Just a bit too shaky on the shots. It's BBG in a 2v4 situation with the spike planted. This time plenty of time for Complexity to hop on to the site. Trill going to take down OHI. Valen going to answer for Rarkar. Now low HP on to Trill. BBG, they tried their best, but it just wasn't enough here on Icebox as Complexity find the defuse and take us to map 3.
Sent on the cards now.